Thank you everyone for tuning in, whether you're listening live or on the replay. My name is Phil, aka it's Phil.nft. I'm on the content team here at Unstoppable Domains, and I get to host our partner spaces where we sit down with some awesome Unstoppable partners, learn about their backgrounds, how they got into Web3, what they're building now, and how Unstoppable is helping them on their journey. Today we are joined by Kryptomon, which is just an awesome project in the Web3 gaming space, but it's much more than that. And we are going to dig into all those juicy details. Joining me on the Unstoppable side, we have our head of Europe, Sajad. Sajad, how are you doing today?
Great, great. Thank you for having me, Phil. Great to be here and great to be talking to our friends.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. Also on the Unstoppable team with me, we have Vova. Vova, how are you doing this afternoon?
Hey, GM. I'm good. Thank you, Phil. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on. I know how closely you've been working with Kryptomon. And our guests of honor today on the Kryptomon side, we have Tomer, the CMO. Tomer, thanks for joining us. How are you doing today? Also on the Kryptomon side, we have their Chief Strategy Officer, Amit. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having us. So happy to be here. I assume Tomer will be solving his tech problems, tech difficulties shortly.
Oh, it wouldn't be a Twitter space without some minor tech issues.
Definitely. It always has. I don't think I ever had a Twitter space that had no form of technical issues with any of the speakers. So we're
No,
good. We're good on that part. That's a Twitter
absolutely.
space.
For sure. Well, we have a lot of fun stuff to get to, so I think we'll keep it going, and Tomer will be back, and we'll get to him as well. Just to give everyone a quick agenda of how it's going to go today. Like I said, we're going to learn about our guests' backgrounds, what they're building, kind of some of their thoughts around Web3 gaming and digital identity. And then I'm going to kick it over to Sajad, who's going to dig a little bit more into the nature of our partnership. And speaking of partnership, Tomer, are you back on the mic?
Sounds like he still has issues.
Well,
Yeah, I think he's
The lack of sound. The
he's
lack
going to
of
the
sound.
listener.
it's all good. We will get it figured out, and we will carry the conversation onward. Either way.
Of course.
So if anyone has any questions, we'll try and get to those at the end. Or if you don't feel like hopping up on stage, you can drop them as a comment or DM them me at Partner with UD. We'd be happy to dig into it. So kicking it off, Amit, we always like to learn a little bit about our guest backgrounds and what brought you into Web3.
Sure. So I've been in the crypto space for almost 9 years now. I started in March of 2014. So basically, I just got into it in the beginning from an economical perspective. I like the concept of privacy and owning your own digital assets, or let's call it monetary assets. And at the time, I was a professional poker player, and for me, Bitcoin was a way to transfer funds across, nations in almost zero latency with minimal costs comparing to all the other different payment solutions that were available at the time. So this got me into Bitcoin, into the rabbit hole, so to speak. And I was just like a bag holder until 2016, where Ethereum started peaking. I bought like my first Ethereum at like $10 and really got into the altcoin space, which led me, 2017 is where retail investors started getting an interest into crypto. I started advising companies. I was also a chief architect, a chief token architect in a blockchain company focused on tokenizing real estate and creating a real estate exchange. That was like the first wave of security tokens. So yeah, that was from 2017 and 2019. I was also a seed investor in Axie Infinity, and to me, that was like the first real great use case for NFTs that in the form of gaming. So I was always an avid gamer. As I said, I was a professional poker player, but also a professional gamer. And I just wanted to learn how I can bring, you know, Web 2 gaming, commercial gaming, casual gaming into Web 3. So I joined a company called Playtica. It's a New York Stock Exchange traded company, a casual gaming giant, has like 7 games in the top 100 in the App Store, Slotomania, World Series of Poker, or Caesars Casino, and many other brands. And I joined that company in order to fully understand how the product flows, user acquisition flows, marketing flows take place in, let's call it, traditional gaming. And after a year and a half, while also managing my portfolio, managing portfolio of others, continuing to advise in the space, I decided to leave the company to join Kryptomon. When we just started, that was April of last year. That was the original OG Kryptomon, the Genesis, so to speak. Yeah, and ever since then, it's been great.
That is a really fun journey into the space, and something I can actually kind of relate with. I was a bit of a poker player myself, not a full-time pro, but some of my first crypto was just cashing out from one of those sites, and I forgot about it. you know and then I looked at it again, and that was like one of the best investments I ever made, just forgetting about it. So
Yes, definitely. I think most people that like bought Bitcoin or got Bitcoin 2012, 2013, 2014, the best investment they ever did was to forget about their cryptocurrencies.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. So yeah, that's a really fun story. Tomer, do we have you on mic? Are you working now?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure.
Awesome.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah, we
you.
can hear you.
Good, good, good. So Twitter Spaces, guys, it's like one of the hardest things to get by. I actually went 15 minutes before we went live to check everything works. Everything worked. The moment I'm entering Twitter Spaces, microphone doesn't work, Bluetooth doesn't work, Wi-Fi keeps dropping. Everything happened.
Oh, I
So
can
now,
relate.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now everything works. I don't want to jinx it, guys. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having us. Super excited to be doing this AMA with you. Yeah, we'll start maybe by explaining a little bit about myself. I will do it very briefly, not to bore people too much. Just ping me that you can still hear me.
Yep, all good.
Okay, okay. I'm already scared. I'm traumatic. So, anyways, well, I've been a digital marketer for 22 years. I started my first business 22 years ago, a company called vSense, doing performance marketing over here in Israel, and I've been exploring the crypto spaces deeply since 2016. I've been aware that it exists since 2014. Back in the day, we were just speculating. It was funny for us that someone wants to buy this Bitcoin thing we bought online. Me and my partner, it was funny for us that someone actually wants to pay more than what we bought it for. Back in the day, that was my first introduction to Bitcoin. I had a few ventures in my life. Technically I had 5 startups, 3 miserably failed, complete annihilation of funds and my investments, and 2 I managed to, thank God, sell and make some money. And then I decided to become an investor of other companies, and not to fund my own companies and my own adventures. I've been active in the investment world since then. I've been heavily active in crypto since about 2 years now, 2.5 years now. One of the main reasons I became very active in the space is also Amit, my dear partner and colleague, um, that brought me more deeply into the DeFi spaces, and I've been around since then, advising projects, investing in projects. Of course, before everything, my baby is a Kryptomon. Been living, breathing, eating, spitting Kryptomon 24/7 since the day I met the project. I was an investor of the project, fell in love with it completely. They required a CMO. I required an adventure. Left my company and came over to Kryptomon to join this amazing adventure, and been doing this 24/7 since then. And that's about it. What can I say? I'm a motorcycle rider, I'm a gamer, I'm a father, I'm a husband, and that's basically it. Love life, love crypto, and Love unstoppable domains. Not sure if I said it, but I think that I'm one of the biggest collectors of domains and unstoppable domains. Before we even ever imagined to have some kind of a partnership with you, I have a lot of domains, like hundreds of them. That's it. Big believer of unstoppable domains. I think that you guys are the future. You're doing something completely revolutionary as a domains trader in the past myself. Happy to be here.
That's a fun journey. And don't be too hard on yourself on the startup side. 2 out of 5, I think that's way above average. I myself have a couple failed startups to my name too. So, I think it's pretty par for the course. And awesome to hear that you were into Unstoppable Domains, before this partnership even came about. We
Yeah.
think there's a lot of appeal to like the domainer crowd like yourself. So that's really awesome to hear, and thanks for the shout out.
Yeah. In startups, we say sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. So
Right?
that's how it works. An expensive lesson, but you learn.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, speaking of your new baby, your new focus, for our audience who might not be super familiar with Kryptomon, I would love if you could give them the elevator pitch.
Of course, Amit, I'm picking it up or you're picking it up.
You can, doesn't matter, of course.
Okay, well, I'll give the brief introduction. Kryptomon started as Pokemon meets Tamagotchi and CryptoKitties. That was the general idea to explain actually what we do. Every person that heard it immediately and said, "Huh, okay, that's how it's going to work." Now we've evolved as the company raised, you probably know, $10 million by $50 million post-money valuation from one of the biggest VCs in the world, some of the biggest VCs in the world, and from Play Studios, the publicly traded gaming company, traded on the NASDAQ. Huge gaming studio that invested in us also in this round, and some high profile individuals who also joined us. We kind of changed a little bit the tiny scope we had, and we became a complete Web3 gaming studio. So, to explain briefly what Kryptomon today is more of a Pokemon meets World of Warcraft and CryptoKitties. That's more of where we're at today. We're creating today 3 games that are all connected to the same NFT. One of them is a Kryptomon Pink Moon. It's an AR experience that you experience with your Kryptomon going around the real world and hunting for treasures. It happens every full moon. We're doing Kryptomon Genesis. This is the 2D experience of the game that is out there already now that you can all enjoy from. And we have Kryptomon World, which is the most immersive version of Kryptomon. It's a complete 3D world, very similar to World of Warcraft, where you get to live, go to adventures, battle, fight, and experience a whole new virtual world, as the trendy word metaverse of Kryptomon is. Yeah, that's basically what Kryptomon World is. So what's unique about Kryptomon is that you can experience all of these experiences with the same NFT. So your NFT is being used in all existing games of Kryptomon and all future games of Kryptomon. So basically, imagine that you have one NFT that evolves, changes, and develops according to everything you do in other games, and all of the attributes it has moves along with it to the other games to be used in different shapes and forms that fit that game. So an elevator pitch is a little bit longer than the time it takes you to get to the floor you just pressed. It was a little bit longer, but yeah, I can just simply say that Kryptomon today is a very, very advanced and innovative Web3 gaming studio. We're a play and earn gaming company. We're aiming first for game first. We're a completely community driven project. The community is a crucial part from this project that helps build everything inside and outside of the Kryptomon world and games. And that's it in a nutshell. If you want to learn more, you can join our communities, one of our communities on Telegram or Discord. And of course, you can read more on our website.
Absolutely, and I encourage everyone listening to go check it out. It looks like a lot of fun. I myself will, start getting into it a little bit more. One of the fun things about working at Unstoppable and doing these partner spaces is I get to learn about all these really awesome projects out there, like Kryptomon that I might not have known about before. So, in researching for this space, definitely looked like something fun for me to try out. So, we'll be getting into that. You kind of led into one of my other questions, talking about this whole ecosystem that you have built around it with a marketplace, with comics and connected gameplay experiences. Maybe this is a question for Amit because it's kind of on the strategic side, but what are some of the challenges in creating a whole universe where you're linking these different types of Web3 experiences versus if you just did them, individually?
Well, that's a very complex question. I'm not sure if it's a strategy question or more of a development question. I think that when we look at games, not necessarily Web3 games, but games in general, there is a significant need for them to be immersive and for the user to have a great user experience in the game. And in order for this to happen, you need to make him feel like he is living and in a, let's call it, separate world outside of the real world, where he can experience different things. And for this to happen, you can not only simplify the experience to just a very casual, let's call it, one of the core pillars of our game, the Pink Moon, Genesis, and World. But also in Genesis, it's divided into two because we have the Tamagotchi function where you take care and nurture your Kryptomon, and then you have the PVE and PvP, the player versus environment, and the player versus player, where you can basically use your trained Kryptomon in battle, where you'll also be able to participate in tournaments that have, of course, rewards. And basically, the more immersive you create the more immersive the experience is for the user, the better experience he has, and the higher likelihood for him to continue playing the game and to feel connected to the community. I think, in general, when you look at gaming as a whole, the concept of being part of a community is the most important one. So this is what we're trying to create, and for this to happen, we're using all of these different pillars to establish that.
Yeah, it makes sense. At their core, games are just communities of people doing the same sort of fun activity together. And the more you can kind of create those connections among the community, stronger it is. The more pull that game has, the whole universe, like you said, feels more immersive. Yeah, I can totally see where you're coming from. Tomer, did I see you come off mute for a second? You wanted to chime in there?
No, only briefly saying, the story that comes along with the game today, as gamers, we know is very important, as part of the crucial part of the gaming experience that you have, so you really need our lore team, does an amazing job, creating all of this world and all of this story to connect to each and everything you experience in our games and are planned to experience in our games. Like like all of the famous Japanese games that like who doesn't know the story of even the simplest of games, like the story of Mario and his brother Luigi that went out to save a princess from a Koopa, right? So even these, the simplest of story of games, that we had in Nintendo, with initial ones with the had like nothing in them had some kind of a story to follow them. Then yes, the story is indeed a very crucial part of creating this immersive universe that we are building for Cryptomon, and very important, for the players to be connected emotionally to the overall experience that they're sharing with us in Kryptomon World, Kryptomon Genesis, and the rest of the products we're planning to release.
Yeah, story is so important. I think it's one of the reasons why those more old school games have just had such sticking power. You mentioned Nintendo. I think Nintendo 64 was probably one of the peak gaming consoles out there. And you're kind of seeing a lot of that sort of old school vibe, recreated in the Web3 era because it fits with the nature of the blockchain, and it just has, like you said, it has that lore, that sticking power that keeps people coming back to it.
Completely, 100%. Who hasn't played StarCraft, and knows like all of the story by heart? This was Blizzard were the ones who created this whole concept, of creating a story that will be so deeply, connected into the game and characters that you actually felt, bad attacking someone, that was too good. You felt that you have to do something, in order to progress with some kind of thing of the story. It made you really emotionally connected to the game, by which breed you want to choose in order that fits your actual character. So yeah, kudos to Blizzard, that they created the whole concept of connecting, fusing a great story with games and gaming experience as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Blizzard has created some of the most addictive games that I've ever played. So they really figured some stuff out there. You know, speaking about gaming, more broadly, it's obviously been a really big focus for Web3, and I know both of you are extremely bullish on Web3 gaming. Why do you think it's such a natural fit to bring games into the Web3 space? Love to hear from both of you on this one.
Yeah, sure. So as I said before in my intro, I was also let's call it, I was a CryptoPunk minter. I was also a Bored Ape minter. I'm not holding them today because I enjoyed the concept of it and the community concept of it, but I'm not like a diamond hand NFT holder. But when I first accounted or got introduced or finally understood the implications of NFTs within the gaming space, it's connected to everything that I was experiencing as a kid. I was a very competitive gamer. Like as you said on Blizzard, I was top 100 legend in Hearthstone in constructed, and I competed in Tekken and FIFA, Call of Duty, and several other games. And to me, I invested a lot of my time as a teenager within games, and I always had the feeling that once I stop playing a game, I lose all the advancement that I did in the game and all the assets that I was able to create within that game. And just for me, while seeing the concept of NFTs in gaming, this enables us as a company to give back, so to speak, to the users, or give them the ownership on the assets that they were able to create while playing. And I think this is the most important thing, and the advancement that Web3 gaming is bringing into the gaming space. And we can talk about how we see gaming moving forward in a different different question. But I do think the concept of NFTs in gaming are here to stay, and they will slowly migrate towards Web 2.
Completely agree with everything Amit said, of course, and I can also share from a personal experience. I think that NFTs are the most natural thing that can happen to games. I think it's a revolution that basically cannot be stopped by any gaming company. And the reason is simple. We're spending so much time and money on games. And at the end of the day, it's not ours, right? Like we spend money, time, we create great accounts, we spend days, weeks, months, lots of money on upgrades, and at the end of the day, it's illegal to sell our accounts. Now, why? It's our time that was invested in it. It's our money that was invested in it. Why can't we sell it? So basically, and of course, if it's a game, why let the company hold the power of creating infinity amount of resources that everybody can just pay to win and buy and accumulate and basically come over and eliminate the hours, days, weeks that they put into the game just because they put $50 that the other player doesn't have. So by creating scarcity in the game itself, creating, for example, token for the in-app currency of the game decentralizing all of the game assets and allowing users to own them, to mint them, to own the characters, to own the lands, to own resources, everything around them. We're basically making it fair. We're making gaming fair again. It's not about who can buy the most expensive weapon. It's not about who can pay for the biggest castle with the biggest tank. It's about who can actually own it, like in real life. In real life, you go out and you work every day and you earn money, and because money, is created with the same scarcity as in-game currency should be, right? It should be a limited resource. If you're making it, if you make infinity amount of that resource that everybody can just come along and pay to win, get it easily, you're making it unfair to the rest of the players. That's one reason. Second reason, of course, which is also not less important, is the ownership. They're actually yours now. When I'm buying a domain with Unstoppable Domains, guys, when, as I said, I'm a collector that has hundreds of them, I know that the domains are mine forever. There is no GoDaddy where I need every year to register over and over and over and over and over and over my domain and be scared that someone will not take over my domain. Why? I bought the name. Why it's not mine? Why do I need to keep registering it? Makes no sense. Same goes with gaming. Now, I can keep on elaborating about this, but I think that you guys have more questions, and let's move on.
Oh man, we could talk about this stuff all day, it looks like, but you're right, we do have some other fun stuff to get to, but it's actually kind of in the same sort of vein that you were just talking about. For me as, a gamer, it always was like a really clear connection between Web3 and gaming. It just made sense to me. Like you said, you're investing all this time and energy in, creating digital resources or finding them, leveling up your characters. It just makes sense that you would be able to kind of keep ownership of that versus letting it just be part of the game. But we're seeing a lot of pushback on Web3 gaming from the traditional gamer crowd. How do you think we can win them over, and where is that kind of pushback coming from, do you think?
Excuse me, if you can repeat the question. I had a connection problem again.
Sure, no problem. I'm just saying, there's been a lot of pushback from traditional gamers on Web3 gaming. Where do you think that pushback is coming from, and how do you
Oh,
think we can like win them over and bring them to the dark side?
great. To the enlightened side, not to the darkened side. So, wait, my kids are having a huge fight inside. It's evening over here.
Oh, no problem.
Me,
So
I'll answer
yes,
this one, no problem.
yeah.
So
Okay.
basically, I think that the significant pushback that we're receiving from Web2 gamers is, first of all, that there is a significant IQ barrier. Those that aren't immersed in Web3 and aren't knowledgeable in Web3, how to use, how to use MetaMask, how to use what are the different networks, what's cryptocurrency, what's Ethereum, what's BNB, what's an NFT. All those concepts are very, very misunderstood by Web2 gamers, and for that reason, it's very hard for them to fathom the concepts that Web3 is bringing to the table. While also a lot of the Web3 games aren't really as interesting as current the existing Web2 games that are to offer. So I think of that perspective, a lot of the gaming companies in Web3, at least I hope, are focusing on streamlining the process for Web2 gamers to be onboarded onto Web3. This is a very significant focus for us specifically, but I assume for other companies as well, in order to decrease that IQ barrier. So you don't need the Web2 users to be more knowledgeable. You're just making the project more accessible for that person. And I think when gamers understand the value that Web3 uh, concepts enable them, for example, the fact that you're able to own your assets and you're able to monetize your time, things that are not existent in Web2 gaming, I assume that the pushback will be minuscule.
I think that it comes from so I agree with the mate. I don't know if I will call it IQ, because I don't think that like the IQ barrier is something like that. Blockchain is only for the smartest. But I think that a lot of people just don't have the basic understanding of what NFTs are, and people tend to be scared from what they don't understand. So, first I heard like people are saying like that they hate. When I joined the company, people told me gamers hate NFTs. Now, how can it even make sense that gamers hate NFTs? NFTs are solving all of the gamers' problems. What does it mean gamers hate NFTs? How can you hate them? How gamers can hate them? I can understand gamers do not understand what NFTs are, and so they're scared of them and they scared to be left behind because they don't understand what it is, so they say they hate it and that it's stupid and that it's fraud. That I can understand, but gamers hate NFTs. It doesn't even make sense. So I think that the educational barrier, Amit was discussing about the onboarding procedure. So of course, onboarding is very important. Just to understand the concept of blockchain and how it works. Like my friends are very smart people. The problem is not their IQ, but they don't understand the concept. They were like, Tomer, I can just send you a file. Why do I need to pay to send you the file? I can just send it the file. What? I will need to pay to send an email on a blockchain? And I need to explain to them like the concept of decentralization and what are gas prices and what is used for. And they don't understand. They tell me, why do I need my money virtually? My money is virtual anyway. I can just get paid on PayPal. They don't understand the concept of it. It's not an IQ barrier. It's an educational barrier. The thing
That's
now that
Tomer.
people,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah,
I'm
I
saying.
understand. I
I wanted
I,
to
I
say the
assumed that
concept
that's
of
what you
it's
meant.
not IQ barrier. That's not the
Yeah,
concept of
yeah.
that.
I
Just a way
assumed, bro.
of describing
Bro,
it.
I
It's
assumed.
educational
Yeah.
educational gap. That's the
Yes.
concept.
I
IQ
assumed
barrier
that,
just
I know, man. I assumed that that's what you meant. I know that you didn't mean that everybody are like stupid if they don't know NFT. I know, man. I know you. I know that that's not what you meant. But that's why I'm not thinking that IQ barrier is like the good term personally for it. It's like the educational barrier. There's not too much education about it. NFT solves problems for gamers. Gamers should beg companies to give them NFTs. It makes their games theirs and not the companies. So again, educational barrier. Once we will be past that, and once, of course, access to wallets will be as easy as just having a PSN account, right? Like you have a PSN account, and all of your saves are saved on the cloud, and you can just install to whatever PlayStation you want and keep on playing. Imagine that this was your wallet on your Google Play Store. It was just your wallet on your Apple account. You had a wallet, and everything will be saved there. You don't even call it a wallet. You don't need to know that it's a wallet. But exactly like as easy as saving things automatically there, they will be saved for you automatically there. You won't be having to know what a wallet is, what the blockchain is. That's when I think that the gap, we will skip that gap, and we will fill that gap, and we will be able to onboard Web2 players successfully into Web3.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with you guys. It sounds like we have a few, main hurdles left. Like you said, the educational hurdle, both about Web3 gaming and about crypto more generally. There's that usability hurdle where people are used to, a Web2 way of doing things. So, kind of fitting with what consumers are already used to. So, nothing insurmountable there. So I just think it makes so much sense. Web3 and gaming is like once people really understand what the NFTs are allowing them to do, how it's giving them ownership within the game, I think we'll see, massive adoption. So I have one more question before I'm going to kick it over to Sajad. Um, so, thinking about play to earn games, we saw that was, a really big part of the last sort of wave, but we might have had some developers focus too much on the earning side and not enough on the play side. How do you find that happy balance between the two? And, do you lean more towards making the game fun and playable versus, making it a career for somebody?
so it's interesting. Both Tomer and I have been talking in keynotes and panels in the last year, talking about the evolution of gaming, and we focused a lot about the concept of the evolution from play to earn and play and earn. I can say that I don't know if we can take it as an achievement, but we were the first company in the gaming space to use the phrase "play and earn." That was in August of last year. This is how we envisioned our game, as we always, our focus was bringing on board Web2 users and not only Web3 gamers. So if we look at the evolution of it, when we consider play to earn, or in general Web3 gaming, you have two incentive mechanisms, right? The first incentive mechanism is the monetary incentives. How much am I earning from playing that specific game? While the second is the user experience, how immersive the game is, how addictive it is, how much I enjoy playing it. So in that aspect, you have those two. And when you looked at play to earn, the main one, the primary one, was the monetary incentive, while the secondary one was the user experience. Also people in Sky Mavis said that if there was a big red button, people would still be playing Axie Infinity, and that's exactly right, because the target audience wasn't exactly the gamers, even though there were many gamers playing that game, and they had over, I think, 2 million daily active users at the top. But a lot of people that were playing it only to earn, a lot of people in their women from Southeast Asia in their 60s trying to make an income, and 12-year-olds trying to make an income. And there was less focus on the game experience as a whole and more on the monetary incentive and the compensation. Now, I think that the transition is, of course, going into the play and earn, which basically makes the primary incentive the one that is the user experience, and the secondary one the monetary incentive. So basically, focus on user experience first, creating a game that is immersive, addictive, enjoyable for the end user, and the secondary one being the monetary incentive. How much is the person making from playing that specific game? And our hope is to create a game where the focus is for the player to enjoy his experience, not even thinking about how much he is earning from the said experience, but just enjoying the fact that he's also earning while playing a game he loves. And that's the focus and where we're aiming for. And of course, we're going to be, you know, bringing on board Web2 users as well.
Yeah, to add to what Amit said, I'm not sure if to add or maybe to summarize it. So the end goal is to create a game that people likes to play, right? So we always at Kryptomon, we're a game first approach. Earn is an option; it's a secondary option in the game. But if we won't create a game that is fun for users to play, if it won't be addictive enough, if it won't be this virtual world you want to be part of, to play in, to run away to live in, to whatever, and if it won't be fun enough, well, then the earn doesn't even count, right? It doesn't even matter. So as Amit says, we're a play and earn company. Earn is an option to the good players, to the dedicated players, and to the players who want to own their digital assets, and they are good enough to earn digital assets in the game while having fun playing it, so they can sell it to trade it with others. But to play to earn is basically a dead model. It's basically a Ponzi scheme, because I'm used to work to earn, right? It's a work to earn. Now, you're not coming to work in a game. You're coming to play a game. So play first approach. That's us.
Amazing, amazing stuff, guys. I mean, I always enjoy listening to you both. You're great gamers and great builders in the space. So I'm going to chime in here. So this is Ajad, head of Europe and Unstoppable Domains. And I fully concur with what you're saying here. So just for the rest of the audience, before Unstoppable Domains, I spent about 8 years in games. I was 4 years as a VP of corporate development at Jagex, the home to RuneScape, one of the leading original game studios out of the UK. And then I spent the last 4 years at Twitch as a VP of Biz Dev for EMEA, where again, I had the opportunity or the privilege to work with tons of leading Web2 game developers in shaping their go-to-market and helping them build communities. So fully agree with what you're saying. Play to earn. I think play to earn was uh, was a slight, in fact, to the opportunity around Web3 gaming. A lot of Web2 gamers who started getting into that had bad experiences, and I think that's created some bad sentiment. And I fully agree that for us to get the wider gaming community onboarded, we need to focus on a model that's built on a great game. So if you're going to build a great game, it's going to last, it's going to keep people engaged, and then you can create and leverage those great Web3 technologies. Let me shift the conversation to a different angle now, and I know both of you guys have been great champions for unstoppable domains even before the partnership, but I'd love to get your take on what you see. What do you see as the role of digital identity to be in Web3 gaming, and how does this all connect to Kryptomon?
So it's a great question. I think the cool thing, and at least I remember this as a kid, gaming gives you the escapism from your real world into the game, in where you can be whoever you want to be. And the problem that took place in Web2 gaming, that if I have a specific identity that I have in one game, I cannot have the same identity in different games as well. I need to create a new identity with the different game that will be taking place. And the cool thing about Web3 and the concept of wallets and blockchain as a whole is the ability of myself to take upon my wallet address. And I do have different entities, or different digital identities in different games, but they're all coming from the same wallet address. So everyone knows that I am the owner of those different identities in those different games. So I think the cool thing that the Web3 is bringing to the table is the ability to have my own digital identity that I can share across different games, and not only be secluded into one specific game.
Yeah,
In
100%.
addition, yeah.
Go ahead,
In
Tomer.
addition, yeah. In addition, it simplifies, all of the onboarding and importing of assets, from one place to another. When you have everything connected, to the same entity, so you don't have to necessarily, make sure you connect a few channels to the same platform. You just connect with one entity, with one platform into the game, and basically everything is important inside. So I think that's a huge plus as far as I see it. It makes onboarding very easy.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. So let me distill this and tell me if I'm reading this wrong. So I guess the main benefits here are interoperability and onboarding. And on let me just unpack onboarding a bit here. So, do you think this could be reality that with a portable identity or portable gaming identity, if I'm a great match three puzzle player, and I have tons of achievements in mastery games, and I find a new game and I connect with my identity, that game can recognize that this guy is probably really good, to not make him grind through all the basic levels and getting onboarded at a level which he can actually engage on. Could this be a reality where we have personalized onboarding in the future through identity across Web3 gaming?
For sure, I completely think it can, and I believe it can create a better experience for both players and companies, of course, to interact with each other. I believe it bridges a huge gap that exists today, right? Like if I'm playing, for example, imagine that I'm playing Batman Arkham Asylum, I don't know, on PlayStation 3, and then I'm playing the sequel on PlayStation 4. Usually, none of my assets are imported. The company doesn't even know that I'm the same player, but imagine that they already saw what level I was, playing Arkham Asylum, for example, and I'm getting I don't know, buffs as I start playing, or I'm just unlocking the hard level, and I don't need to go over and finish the whole game in order to unlock the hardest level. So it makes the experience better for me. It makes the experience better for the company, and it also unlocks more opportunities for both. Maybe I'm getting exclusive discounts, because I'm playing the match three games, as you said. Then when I'm getting into a game that is a match three game, I'm just getting an exclusive offer to buy a package. You also see the history, of what I already have inside, so you can know if I'm a spending player or if I'm a free to play player. You already know these. So by knowing these, exactly as you said, you can create an experience that will be the best experience for both the player and the company. For the companies to generate, better incomes, and better monetization, and for the player to create a better gaming experience to enjoy the game better.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I think you're on point there. And I really like, I mean, I think in general, I really like the prospects of play and earn as well. I mean, we all saw what happened with Play to Earn. It was a Ponzi scheme, poor gaming experiences being built, where you've got these farms where people are churning out, leveling up their NFTs, and then selling them onwards. And there's no real long-term utility, and it was too heavily lopsided towards earning. I think the play and earn reality is different, and I think that makes sense because here's how I see it right now, right? And again, I would love to get your take on this, which is right now, if you go to, and I won't name a game, but if you go to some of the largest open world, multiplayer live games out there, right, with hundreds of millions of players, the only people who have any opportunity to make some money off them is either the company or the very top ranked players, right? Either they're top ranked creators or they're top ranked esports players. Everybody else doesn't get any opportunity to make any real money or any sort of material gain any material value from them. However, a lot of those players do contribute to the game experiences. So, being part of a live game, which is a live multiplayer game, even if you're a mid-level player, you're adding value to other players. So there should be some value you gain back from that, either monetarily or in terms of your reputation, which you can reuse. So I do think that Play and Earn has much better prospects. And I can see you guys doing a great job there and having a great shot at being one of the games that leads the front from there. Um, I want to jump on to the integration, guys. I would really like to see um, uh, hear your thoughts on how the integration with unstoppable domains looks like. Let the audience hear from you guys what the integration is and what you see the value of this thing for the community to be, for the Crypto One community.
So basically, what the integration with unstoppable domains gives our users is giving them an easier way to log in into the game and to start playing, right? So they also, can also, uh, if they want, keep their anonymity, and not letting, let's say, others see their wallets because they're using their IDs, the IDs, they can stay anonymous and allow them to onboard on the game faster and more in an easier way, and to connect assets from, let's say, maybe few other channels that we're not even supporting, just by knowing that unstoppable domains already have few identities connected to it, and once they connect with that identity into our game, we will basically get all of that information from unstoppable domains, so we can give them a better experience while they are logged into the game without them needing to connect a few channels at once. So I'd say that the biggest benefit for all of us is that it just makes life more simple for everybody, both us and the players.
Great. I mean, Amit, do you want to add anything to that?
I think Tomer summarized it wonderfully. I think our partnership brings great utility to our users as well, especially with the fact that all NFT holders will be receiving some form of unstoppable domain. Let's call it merch, which is always amazing, and we're always happy to spread the word as you said, we have been long term supporters even before this partnership, and we will continue to do so after.
Brilliant. And you got a bunch of supporters for Kryptomon now. You definitely have one here. Um, so tell me, I mean, you guys know in unstoppable domains intimately well. So I'm expecting really good answers here. So no pressure. If you could snap your fingers today, what is one feature you'd love from unstoppable domains? I'm really keen to hear your thoughts, both of your thoughts.
Easy for me. I more integrations. I would be happy indeed to have one identity that connects everything at the same place, which you guys already are doing by enabling me to connect a few wallet addresses and a few wallets into my identity. Um, and if I can basically have, like one passport that connects all of my identities into one place, like more integrations, basically, it will make my life much easier. Um, I basically love unstoppable domains. I have like everything I need at the moment there. Oh, what I do want is I'm waiting for the day that I won't have to use a Chrome extension in order to visit unstoppable domain websites. At the moment, I require the Chrome extension to actually go for it to recognize um, for the DNS to actually work so I can go directly browse to unstoppable domain website addresses. This is something that I'm looking forward to for the day that browsers will recognize NFT domains as a natural thing. Other than that,
Awesome. We're
seriously,
working on this one. Yeah.
honestly, I love.
No, we love you back, man. And we're working on that one. We're working on that one. We already have Unstoppable Domains working on Opera as well as Brave, and we'll get there on Google, on Chrome as well. Absolutely. Uh, Amit, what about you? What would you like to see from Unstoppable Domains?
Um, I don't know how feasible it is, but I'll be happy to use your services on other chains as well. Obviously, Ethereum is great, but there are a lot of upcoming chains that I think you can be great candidates at. So that's also a thing that I will be happy to see.
And we're working on that one too. I mean, it's a bit harder, but it's something that we have our eyes on. We're definitely looking to be chain agnostic long term, and that's something we'll need to do to get there. All right, I'll just ask one more question and hand it back to Phil. Um, so let's take a bird's eye view. Where do you see Web3 gaming in 5 years? What are the top three things you see happening? Each of you.
Top three things. So first, native integration into consoles. One, it's going to be part of your I think your gamer account. It's going to be very natural. You will go through some kind of a procedure that maybe it will be their chain. I don't know. Maybe it will be something that you connect your some other chain to it. Maybe I don't know Polygon. Maybe they're taking over. Maybe and I'm happy to see it. Maybe they will be providing services. I seriously have no idea, but it will be native integration into consoles, gamer accounts. I see mobile app stores now including as part of your user ID, including a wallet. So you won't even know that you have a wallet. It will be like probably a fully custodial wallet or a semi-custodial wallet that you can just, bring things in and out, but you won't have to deal with the stuff like seed phrases and keys, etc. That's the second thing. And third thing, I believe that gamers will basically understand the power that NFTs give them, and they will demand it from every new game to include. I believe that gaming studios will be forced in 5 years to allow users to mint their game assets as theirs because it is theirs. So once the demand will come from gamers, I believe that they will have no place to hide. They cannot run anymore. That's what I think my three biggest things that are going to happen in the next 5 years. So integration to consoles, native integration in mobile app stores, and demand from gamers.
Touch
So
wood. Let's make it happen. Yeah, go for it, Amit.
of course, I agree with Tomer on all these topics, and they were topics that I probably would have shared on my own. But I do think that to elaborate a little bit on something Tomer said, is that I think Web 2 gaming will no longer exist, so to speak. It will be more of Web 2.5. So I don't think that all the large gaming companies will necessarily migrate and transition completely into Web 3, but I do think that gamers will close that knowledge gap and will have some sort of expectancy or expectations to have those type of features that NFTs offer them in Web 3 gaming into traditional gaming. So I do see, Counter Strike, Global Offensive transitioning into NFTs for their skins and to their items, and I do see it happening on.
Can you hear me, Amit?
What? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you, Amit.
Yeah, it's just Tomer. So what I'm saying is that I do think that all the large brands will have to transition into this type of concepts, and Web3 gaming will continue to flourish, and game assets and game design will continue to improve. And I think that 5 years from now, you won't see the difference between a Web2 game and a Web3 game in terms of the visuals of it and the game experience that you experience during the play itself, because even the onboarding into the Web3 concepts will be fully transparent, super clear, super easy. And even the Web2 gamers that have zero knowledge will still be able to be onboarded onto those games, and they'll just start to expect more from the Web2 games that they play. So due to that fact, I do think that this is where we're headed 5 years from now.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll add one more, and then I hand over to Phil. And I think what I'd love to see is a lot more interoperability within Web3 games. I think together, by having interoperability, we make the utilities 10x more, right? Every single unit of interoperability adds 10x more utility. So interoperability needs to happen, and I hope it happens. Alrighty, over to Phil.
Awesome. Thanks, Sajad. And yeah, totally agree with everyone's thoughts on where Web3 gaming is going. Love to hear how bullish everyone is. And like Sajad said, I think interoperability is a big opportunity for Web3 gaming that can kind of help differentiate a little bit from the Web2 and the Web 2.5 games. Um, and really just as a gamer myself, just really excited to see how this space continues to keep developing. And I think the next few years are going to be really exciting for it and really crucial. So I wanted to thank everyone for tuning in. This has been a really great space where we got to talk to some real OGs in the Web3 and crypto space. We always like to wrap it up just by giving our guests sort of the floor for any last thoughts, any alpha, any shameless plugs, just to say thank you for coming on our space. Maybe Tomer, we could start with you. Any last thoughts for alpha, maybe around Kryptomon that you want to share with our listeners?
Well, not too much. I basically think we've been over a lot today. We're inviting all of you to join our communities on Telegram and Discord. Learn more about Kryptomon, about the game. Join our community. It's a very fun and big family. And yeah, looking forward to seeing all of you there. Looking forward to a great partnership with Unstoppable Domains. As fans of Unstoppable Domains, users, and now partners, we're very happy to join your big family, and we're looking forward to do amazing things together. And I believe and hope that this is just the beginning for Kryptomon and Unstoppable Domains.
100%.
Awesome, definitely. Amit, any last little bits of alpha as someone who minted CryptoPunk and an ape and everything else you did?
I'm actually the one in the team that is trying to make everyone avoid sharing spoilers and whatnot. So usually Umberto, the CEO, and Tomer like to share spoilers. So I'm the one that usually tells them, maybe not this time. Maybe keep it under wraps. So I don't have a lot of alpha to share here. I do share some alpha on Twitter sometimes, and in the Kryptomon groups, but just wanted to say that I really appreciate you having us here. We had a blast. You had really informative questions, and I do hope that everyone that was tuning in had informative thoughts regarding what took place, and how Web3 gaming is expected to look like in the future.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Really appreciate that feedback. I really enjoy doing these spaces. I get to learn a lot and talk with interesting people like yourselves. So thanks for coming on, for sharing your backgrounds, your knowledge, all the alpha that you could share. So everyone here listening in, be sure to give Kryptomon a follow. Give Amit and Tomer follows if you want more of that special alpha. And maybe some leaks on Tomer's side. Our CEO does the same thing. I'll see him tweet something out. I'm like, hey, I was supposed to announce that tomorrow. He jumped the gun. So I know where you're coming from. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. This has been a really fun space. We're going to be back with another partner space, I think, on Friday. So keep your eyes peeled on our Twitter for announcements around that. Thanks again, everyone, and I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great evening for those of you
Thank you
across
so
the
much
pond.
for having us. Thank you,
Thank you
Phil.
for
Thank you,
having us, guys.
Seja.
It's
Thank
been
you,
great.
Vova.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. This is a really fun one, and looking forward to connecting with you guys again. Thanks, everyone,
Bye.
for tuning in.